Oki, ita mixganatani. Good morning. Matikstoi. It's not very cold. In fact, it's almost 10 degrees above zero, and we are still in the last part of the moon Gattoi, which is the fourth of our winter lunar cycles, and it's usually the worst in terms of, well, actually the moon following this is usually the worst. It's the unpredictable weather that comes next. But, you know, this moon should still be very cold, and it's not. Water is forming on the surface of the ice at the pond. I was almost expecting to find just open water, even in here, around the beaver lodge, coming in this morning. I haven't been around for probably a week or so. Just been mostly COVID isolated, and I haven't been feeling good. You know, it's a weird thing, this COVID. It's got a strange flavor to it. It started off for me with cold symptoms, and then after a couple of days just transitioned into this kind of weariness, and I haven't been able to shake the weariness, and a little bit of nagging cough and stuff, but I can't really tell if that's COVID or just my usual nagging cough. Any case, all this week we pretty much shut down at Samus. Too many people got the COVID, and too many staff members. We had to close the doors, but I maintained class online, and that was about all the energy I had to commit to anything each day was, going online for the 6-7 hours that we held our class. And then I'd have to sleep, and I'd sleep like 16 hours, So, I don't know. But this morning I have energy, so I figured I'd get out. Britt's still in bed, but she stayed up later than me. We might come out again later in the day, I don't know. But I wanted to get out myself, breathe some fresh air, and enjoy this strange heat. We've had events going on, wildlife events that right before the strange heat, we had another deep freeze, and in that deep freeze there was a waterfowl die-off at Henderson Lake that is not really unusual. It's typically the kind of die-off we get more toward the beginning of winter, when the lake first really freezes over, and any kind of injured animals or ones that should have migrated and didn't get trapped, and I've even gone out in those times and fished up, good looking mallards that had just died, and taken them as food, scavenged. But this one was weird because it's midwinter, and I guess it makes sense because the lake has been kind of opening and closing, and we've had this weird warm winter, and now there's quite a few waterfowl around the city, as you've seen in some of my previous videos, like thousands of golden eyes and geese and stuff, although oddly none here today. Again, I expected, like we saw the other week, as the day passed, we saw geese gathering here at the pond, and we are going to be heading into that season, that nesting season, so I do expect the clans to start coming back here during the day, ice or not, but not till into the next moon. I thought we were seeing a little bit of that the other week, so I expected it this morning too, but nothing. It's very quiet here at Spopikimi. Anyway, at Henderson there was that big die-off of waterfowl. Lots of geese and ducks died, and people are pretty concerned about it. And, I think it just has to do with the global warming the weird weather we're having, and of course our urbanization that attracts birds to stay for the winter in the first place, to take that risk at all. Then during this last week, we had a rattlesnake event on the west side. A rattlesnake showed up on someone's property, and so that's weird. I mean, rattlesnakes brumate, so they do have the occasion to, if it's very warm and we have that warmth for an extended period, like if it was 10 degrees like for a few days and straight, some smaller snakes might surface. They wouldn't go anywhere. They might just take a peek around. They might wake up, right? That seems to be what's happened. There was a young rattlesnake woke up on the west side. The question is, how far did he go from the den? And that's an interesting question, because they shouldn't be going away from the dens right now at all, right? So in any case, a couple of strange wildlife events, and both of them I chalk up to the weird warmth of this winter in some respect or another. So anyway, I think I'll take the camera with me for the day, maybe just for the morning here as I explore the pond. But if Britt and I go back outdoors in the afternoon or something, as I'm pretty sure she'll want to do, I'll probably take a camera along with me then to get out and about a bit. Haven't been down into the Owlwood for a bit. Maybe we'll go poke around down there just briefly. I love these little caverns, under the roots and stuff of some of these trees. Lots of little nooks where you sometimes find caches of mouse food and such. This used to be, when I first started visiting the pond, this was where there were always great horned owls, and they nested here, and for much of the year I could watch them here before the young were big enough to get around, That's why I called it the Owlwood, but it's been quite a while. The couple who lived here died. One of them was bumped by a vehicle, it seems, by the bridge, and another one died of mysterious causes, maybe just heartbreak, on the other side of the river. Just was found on the path one day after spending a couple of days sitting in the window at the nature center, which is unusual behavior for an owl. I have not found an owl nest to follow yet this year, and it's coming up to owl season here, and I need to find myself a nest, otherwise I won't really know what the deal is with the next moon, whether it is some, as I'm sure it will be, or, sometimes I'll be thrown off guard, and it's the deceptive moon. How do you say this? Salmetsikism. The Salmetsikism, which is the 13th moon that comes in. But the way you know is by watching eagle or owl nests. Primarily, among other things, but that's the primary phenological cue for that moon, why it's called the eagle moon, if it is such. It's a porcupine above me. I'll pull out the other camera and give you a little look. He's up in the tree right here. Okay, Scuff. We're jealous of your hair. Up there making firewood. Doing the porcupine thing. Yeah, I don't know if they did their mating already. They might have. The other week, the porcupines were very active all over town. I had one porcupine relocation that I showed you. I actually had 3 calls, and one of those traps is still set out, so we might have a second porcupine relocation coming. But 3 calls all in 1 week for porcupines, and that's unusual unless there's something going on with them. And it could very well be that they were doing their mating cycle, and when they mate, it's a funky thing. The female is only really ready to do that for a couple hours out of the whole year, and the males can smell it and they come for her. But in order to court her, a male will walk up and on his hind legs and urinate on her, urinate all over her, and she'll check it out and see if she likes his smell or whatever. And then if she does, then he mates, and if she doesn't, then he's out of luck, and another male will come, hopefully. But yeah, it's a brief and curious event, porcupine mating, and it may have just happened last week. I'm not sure. Definitely the small mammals are starting to move around a little bit. I'm starting to get more calls. What do we got going on here? What am I looking at? I'm trying to find the ducks. There we go. Not sure who all we got. Looks like a mallard to me. Yeah, these are mallards. Makes you gutsy. Some mallards on the river here. There's quite a few birds. These all might be Meekshigatsi. Looks like it. And then what I noticed under the bridge, might be too bright for me to see it right now, but there will look to be a goose. Oh yeah, there's a couple of geese back, maybe beyond the bridge. Maybe 2 or 3 couples hanging around. Again, this is what I'll expect to see in the next lunar cycle, is a lot more goose couples and clans showing up at the nesting areas, particularly the high level bridge, which they mistakenly nest on, looking for islands. The big river island, which is down this way, is a huge nesting rookery area for the geese, and then of course the islands of Spobikimi. There are some golden eyes. See if I can find one. There's a couple of them that are just fishing right off of the ice edge here. There we go. Probably diving right under that ledge. And then there's also, I think, maybe one or two golden eyes out in the deeper waters. Yeah, there's one here. Not as many as I would expect to find, but they seem to be, like we saw down more close to the wilderness park, is where you get the big assemblies happening right now. Tons of open water here though. Magpie bath. It's going against my previous magpie knowledge. Most of the times that I've seen the wild magpies bathing, well, at least more communally, is in the evening. Just taking a knee to observe these mallards who've transitioned from the river over to the pond. Just as I was walking by, they flew over and landed here in the spring, and I'm not sure what they're up to. Why they came over here, probably they're just hungry and this is a better place for them to dabble and feed than the river. The river provides their, security overnight, and when they want to rest on the ice shelf without being too near to areas where coyotes could sneak up on them, If they're over here at the pond, they got to be on high alert. It's a different kind of situation. Yeah, I was reminded as I was kneeling here and the moisture started coming up through my pant legs into reaching my skin and such, that really a more traditional kind of resting posture for something like this when I'm watching these ducks, or if I was just to be, taking a time out and sitting and talking with somebody, in the past, what comes to mind right away for me is that image of Brings Down the Sun, talking about beaver bundle stuff with Walter McClintock in the 1890s, and he's sitting here like this, squatting. This was a normal posture for people to have to take, of course, to use the washroom in the past. You had to have strong, leg muscles and glutes and all of that stuff. And this is a really healthy thing to do, for a modern. I wonder how many of you can even sit like this and put your heel on the ground like I am. It's not something that most people maintain the flexibility to do, unfortunately, but it's something that I think is worth working on. And yeah, it's another kind of a technique that you should develop. If you had to be out here, hunting, and you had to kind of wait and ambush hunt a little bit, you might have to squat like this for a good period, and you have to have the muscles to do that. There's still ducks coming in. I don't know if you heard them landing behind us. There's another one coming in right now. Yeah, it didn't take long for my legs to burn out either, even though I do have the squatting skill still. I just wondering what that magpie was carrying on about. He's just crossed the river now. You're probably hearing wind. I think I'll go down to the water. Ice still looks pretty thick, but I know that there's a deep spot here and there might be a thin area. Kind of watching my step, and along that edge too. Hopefully it's still plenty sturdy to hold me. Ooh. Seems to be. I am curious as to whether any insect life is coming out onto the ice as yet, particularly Isocapnia stoneflies, which I expect to start seeing here maybe coming into the next moon. I'm also on the lookout for some river clam shells. My friend Les Wolfchild and his wife are collecting, I think they need about a dozen river clam shells for something they're doing with one of their societies. And I told them I would come down and see if I could find any. This island here is a really good area to find them, or at least I've experienced that in the past. So I'm going to take a scout around, see if I can pick up a few for them, and look for stoneflies if there's any. I think I might have already seen them just crossing if there was going to be. So my anticipation for stoneflies is waning. Shells though is going up. There's a broken piece. I need to find some whole ones. Not sure what happened to this goose. Surprised that the eagles haven't plucked it right apart, or the magpies or somebody. It's pretty curious that it's just laying here, getting old. Maybe I'll put it out here a little bit more exposed, but I would think they could still see it. Could be another victim of that die-off that I was talking about from last week's cold shots. You know, otherwise it would be eaten. Haven't found any shells yet, to my surprise. That's frustrating. I like to be the guy that can magically produce the nature products when people need them. Maybe when Britt and I are out later today, we can go somewhere where there's greater potential for shells. I don't know. No stoneflies. Really quiet out here in general. Well, to my dismay, I never found a single unbroken shell on that island today, which is odd. Usually I do, but of course the gulls aren't here right now. They haven't been pulling any new shellfish out of the river. Obviously it's frozen over, so it could be the season, but my friend does need some shells, so I'm gonna have to go in search elsewhere. Gonna run home now, see what Britt's up to, hoping that she'll be ready to join me. We've been thinking about doing this. I have this small little glass aquarium. I don't even know if it's more than 10 gallons, but we've been thinking about trying to make a little ecosphere in there with some of the local water, local sediments, invertebrates, bacteria, and maybe some, definitely some plants, and maybe even some minnows and stuff like that. Hey, we could get started on something like that today, but you know, I do got to finish the shell project if I can. I'd love to produce some shells for my buddy so he doesn't have to go out and find them all. And I still got energy, surprisingly, even with the COVID energy drain. Today I'm feeling pretty good, and I think I want to ride it a little bit more. So let's go see if Britt's up and about and grab her for some more wandering.
Fucked up.
Don't know if you can see the deer feeding on the coulee side there. On the north side, where there's more plant growth, worthy of noting. Don't see them as often on this side, but they're over there.
Yeah. Hey, why?
Yeah. Well, that's shady because the sun's on the other side, so it grows more plants.
Oh.
That's why all the cactus and stuff grow on this side, and over here you got like juniper. See that low-lying stuff all around in here? Hey, you don't. Yeah, it's that shade side. So this is the side usually where animals will den, like where you find active like badger, coyote dens, rattlesnake dens, stuff like that will be on the south-facing slopes. The north is just too cold.
It's too cold.
Too cold. Heading into the wilderness park. It's busy here. There's people wandering about. I'm gonna go look at the big beaver lodge on that side.
Okay.
And see if we can find some shells. Go look at our piece of wood.
It's all fucking muddy here. It's like squishy. He's wearing his sandals. Hey, you ever buy new sandals, or you just always had those?
No,
Serious question. The people want to know.
This is the second pair of this style that I've had. The first pair, I just wore out, but the company that makes them saw some of my videos where I was wearing them when I was climbing Chief Mountain. I was going down in my sandals down the screen, and then they were designing these. My other ones had an open toe, which was nice, and then they designed these with this toe thing on there, and so they incorporated part of my video into their advertisement for their closed toe.
Toe?
And then they gave me these as payment for using 5 seconds of my video or something.
Huh.
But I don't like these as much. The closed toe sucks because it gets things caught in there. When you have an open toe, you can just, your feet can just sweep it out, as
The
you're
shoe
walking.
company's probably looking for they'll be watching this like, bro.
Well, they fucked up. They did. They fucked up.
At least they tried. At least they tried.
Keen company, they make really good sandals, like the most durable sandals. Most of the sandals I've ever bought, I tear apart 2-3 pairs in a season, just in my walking. But Keen sandals have been durable. They last me longer than a year, usually a couple of years. And however, the new closed toe on this is bullshit. It really sucks.
Yeah. And I got Vans. This silly goose. Sometimes I just want to see what it would look like if it went in this. Do you think it would get hurt? No? No? Just float around? Sorry, I'm really zoomed in. But check this out, we're just over here. But look at this goddamn piece of ice, snow. It's just a triangle.
Want mean?
The government.
You want me to put it in the river? What do you want to do?
Huh? No, I want to throw it in the window. Bring it back up.
Oh, you want me to bring it up?
Yeah, I don't want to do the work, but I want to have the fun. But I say that's the work of the government. It's fake snow. Huh?
I need to find shells.
Oh, okay, okay.
There's some wicked ammonite.
Oh shit! I'm gonna come down. Your stuff.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah, it's a real nice ammonite piece, but you gotta wet it.
Oh, wet it?
Well, you could see what it looks like wet, because when you wet it, yeah, look at that, hey? Look at that. Ooh. Dude, we gotta do some resin work with that stuff.
Okay, here.
That's nice. Hey? Yeah, we just ditched that piece of ice.
Oh, yeah.
Should we float it in the river?
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll continue walking this thing. So I want to see if there's any shells.
Wait, it's so squishy.
Can I drop this rock in your bag?
Sure. Do I just toss it in there?
Huh?
Do I just toss it into the river?
I suppose. I had no plan. Okay.
Oh no! I'm sinking in.
Go. Quicksand. Valen's nightmare.
Last piece of, little bit of piece of ice, mate. Just a little ice. Here, wait, hold on. Look at this pretty rock. I don't know. This time we found a rock. It's at my parents' place. But here, wait. It's like flat.
Yeah.
On one side, there was like a dent. And then I grabbed it, and then I picked it up, and then on the other side, it was the same dent. On the other side, like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen stuff like that before.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
It's
used
like,
those things. I've used those things as like for grinding up paint and stuff on.
Yeah.
Because they make nice little paint bowls, and I think they're just natural though, because they got it on both sides. It's like they had a softer stone in the middle or something.
Yeah,
right?
right. It's at my parents' house if you wanted to check it out today.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go have stew and fry breads for dinner. Lisa's cooking. No clams so far.
Alright, check this out, fam.
See how many skips you can get.
I'm gonna skip it across. Watch this.
All the way across.
Okay.
About 5, maybe. About 5 hops.
Like 3.
This is
Are we going up?
Yeah, I just want to check out this licorice. Like right here is a good example of an easily accessible licorice plant.
Hey, after this we should go to Pavan Park.
We should. If you want to harvest licorice, this is the easiest way to do it, is find a sandy cut bank like this with the licorice growing in it, and then you can dig in the sand to access those roots. And it's those root stems that you really want, hey?
It's like a layer of rock.
Where?
Right here.
Yeah, there is kind of a layer of stone. It must have been the old riverbed in there before.
Must have been what?
The riverbed must have had risen up at one time there, like
Oh yeah.
laid down another layer of gravel like this.
That's weird.
Yeah, and then it was just filled with sediment from flooding, you know?
Perfect rock. You know what I want to do? I want to grab like rocks like this, paint them, and then put them back.
Oh yeah.
And we can just record it and be like, hey look, there's a rock here with some
could.
cool art.
This is the licorice root.
You're eating it? You're not going to wash it off with like at least the river?
No. It's very woody right now.
Yeah.
It's not in its prime, but it's edible. if you want a little sugar jolt.
Ooh, look how much. Like this, these are fun glasses. Here, wait, just look how much the tone changes with it. I don't know if it's like, but like these are the best thing ever. Life looks depressing without these. Look, you check them out. See? Doesn't it look like seem more lively? Like I know it's like it looks pretty dull without them.
It's kind of rose colored.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No, it's like brown. It's like
yeah,
no,
guess,
it's like
right?
more light.
There's a reddish hue in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if you can see this print here. All along this run there's evidence of raccoons having used this trail. Okay. And these could very well be raccoons who I introduced to this park from some of the neighborhoods, because this is one of the places where I come to release animals. So it's cool to see, you know, evidence this time of year that there's a population of them doing good down here. And I see a lot of that nowadays in the coulees. I'm seeing a lot of raccoon tracks. So I have hopes that some of the ones that have relocated are not just coming right back up, but actually sticking around the coulee. But who knows? That is, now this is made by the poplar borer beetle larvae.
Ooh.
And it's a really cool thing. See, what happens is they lay their egg, like the poplar borer beetle comes in and lays their egg like deep in the bark.
Oh.
And then the little worm that hatches from that egg digs in to the tree like a couple of inches. You'll see like a hole, like these little hole. Like they dig into the tree a couple of inches, and then they spend the next 2 years of their life digging their way out and eating, and they get fatter and fatter and fatter. And what these are is at their last stage, they're kind of against this cambium bark,
yeah.
and they're here and they're eating this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is how fat they are, hey?
Oh.
And they're kind of like a little maggot, but they're borer beetle larvae. And all around the world, borer beetle larvae are good eating, and these ones are too. I've eaten. There's two.
You can eat them?
Yeah, there's two different species. You don't want to eat the adult beetle. You never want to eat adult beetles.
Why?
Because they got parasites and stuff. But the larvae don't. And so, and they just taste like sugar from the tree. They're really, really good. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're like little candies.
That's weird. How do you get them?
Okay,
like,
so how I find them is I look for places that like fallen logs like this, but where woodpeckers have just recently been digging, because that's what they're digging out of there.
Oh.
And then I just dig in the log around that area too, because there'll probably be others. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we got like 3-4 different species of woodpecker. Yeah. Oh yes. We'll see some before long, I'm sure.
There was a Sharpie in my bag, and I decided to do this beautiful piece of art. And I guess, I don't know, you know where to find it. He'll be sitting right there. He's cute. He's looking at the river. People are waiting for you to go in. He's gonna go for a swim. Do you want me to hold your camera in case you do fall in? Because that'd be hilarious.
The stuff I'm standing on is already it's like dirty ice.
Dirty ice? Oh. Yeah. We'll go further. Are you sure? You're gonna. Are you sure?
single golden eye. Haven't seen too many. There's a kind of a pod of them up ahead. You should get in with your camera if you want to see a golden eye. Or they'll probably be flying past us soon anyway when they see us coming. I'm still scouting for clam shells. It's kind of blowing my mind that I'm not finding any. It's a thing that I see all the time along the river, typically. What do you think is the story here?
What do you think the story is behind this?
That's not a keen sandal. You think somebody...
Adidas?
It could be, hey?
No.
Should we touch it?
You know.
The stick?
Fuck.
The stick? Is it Adidas? It is. Right on target. Boom.
Oh yeah, there's 3 lines.
Yeah,
Do you know?
Alright, yeah.
Do you live under a rock, right?
I guess. I don't know. There's a big flotilla of waterfowl. I think geese, golden eyes. I don't know if there's probably others too, but they're staying far enough ahead of us that I can't tell from, with my naked eye. Up around the bend there's a whole bunch too. Like, this is just the tail end of what's a really large flotilla of waterfowl ahead of us. We are disturbing the peace along this river. The geese, who are not part of the flotilla keeping ahead of us, are just moving out as we pass them, which was very predictable. We have been picking up some cool rocks here and there. That's kind of a neat yellow one, but it's also kind of plain. Hey? I don't know. We've been picking up stuff that might work in our aquarium.
We left all our flat rocks back there.
Yeah, ditch the flat rocks, the junk rocks.
No, they're not junk. I love flat rocks. Flat rocks are fucking beautiful. Remember that shit. What, bro? Oh!
What's up? You got rocks? I got rocks
I got
too.
Snakes in my boots.
Because my stupid keen sandals are holding pebbles in my shoes with their closed toe. Gosh darn it.
With their
I just gotta suffer it instead of having comfortable feet. Oh, quartz crystal. That stuff's hard. You can pick up sparks from that, hey? Potentially. Are these geese gonna let us pass? I doubt it.
They're like, nope.
Dang. Check it out. Britt found a clamshell.
And Ryan found This ugly shit.
Knobby shit. Yeah, he can go.
I don't know.
Do you think you like him? He's kind of, yeah, he's kind of cool. He came from the mountains. It's
From the
mountain rock.
mountains?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
You can
And
hold
look
on
at,
to this.
is that one, or is that just a fragment?
No.
It's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
fragment. Dang.
Dang.
We need more clamshells. This one's even just chipped barely on the corner, but I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay.
Hey, okay. Well, let's look around here.
Yeah. More people coming down. Well, I think that's it for our Wilderness Park adventure. We have collected one clamshell to add to Les's inventory. He'll just have to be happy with that for now. It's just not the season. Any case, I think that's a wrap.